James Smith joins us now from Copenhagen. He's a medical doctor currently working for Doctors Without Borders in its research unit for humanitarian stakes and practices. James, really good to talk to you. Thank you so much for speaking to us. To just give us an idea of the situation with regards particularly to child malnutrition in Gaza at the moment.
Thanks for having me. And just to be clear, I was in Gaza with an organization called Medical Aid for Palestinians. So we were hearing reports back in December of children presenting to a hospital in the middle area of Gaza with malnutrition. What we have seen in the weeks that have followed is a progressive deterioration in the situation across the entirety of Gaza. Humanitarian access has been woefully inadequate. As you've just heard from your correspondent, aid trucks have been directly and seemingly intentionally targeted. The ability to deliver even the most basic forms of humanitarian assistance have been compromised for several months now. And as a result, we're now seeing, unfortunately, inevitable increases in malnutrition, vaccine-preventable diseases, waterborne diseases, people dying from wound infections, and so on and so forth. So these reports of malnutrition that are now emerging, the Ministry of Health have reported at least 6 children have died of malnutrition in the north of the Gaza Strip as of yesterday. These are unfortunately unsurprising given the context in which we're in now, whereby the situation has deteriorated so precipitously in the absence of any form of meaningful humanitarian support under such circumstances, that we're now facing not only malnutrition but a credible risk of imminent famine.
James, there were reports that in the current ceasefire negotiations and about how that would work, that potentially 500 trucks of aid could enter Gaza if a ceasefire was implemented. If you were deciding what goes on those trucks, what would be your priority?
I mean, the first thing to say is that 500 trucks is the minimum that would come in a single day in Gaza prior to this latest escalation in Israeli violence. So 500 trucks would be the bare minimum for a single day under normal circumstances. The volume that is required at this stage exceeds that 100 times over at least. What we would need to see on those trucks now are the basic commodities required to sustain life: clean, drinkable water, nutritious food products, basic medical equipment to resupply the hospitals, which we've heard are barely functional at this stage. The items required to ensure a basic level of shelter. It's very cold right now. Weather conditions are variable. All of these things are lacking across the entirety of the Gaza Strip, but most urgently, those needs are certainly in the north of Gaza.
And just finally, what sort of effect does it have on you trying to go about your work while you're seeing all this happen around you?
I think this is the most pertinent question. And to come back to your point about the ceasefire, this isn't just about humanitarian access. The number of trucks coming in is almost a moot point for as long as the violence is scheduled to continue, or for as long as the violence will continue. What's needed now is a ceasefire. It's impossible for humanitarian organizations and for healthcare workers to do the work that they need to do under such circumstances. For as long as the violence continues, humanitarian and medical efforts will be almost futile.
Many thanks, James. Really good to talk to you. That is James Smith, who's a doctor for Medical Aid for Palestinians.